two small but momentous revolutions completely changed the fabric of Russia. First, the February Revolution took place. It toppled the Russian monarchy and established a provisional government. Then in October, a second revolution placed the Bolsheviks in power as the official leaders of Russia, resulting in the creation of the world's first communist country.
It all began with Tsar Nicholas II making a huge mistake on September 1915. Once Nicholas took control of Russia's troops, he became personally liable for Russia's defeats in World War I, which there were many of. He recruited a total of 15 million farmers in an attempt to rebuild his ailing army.
Therefore, there were no people left to cultivate and deliver food to the cities. Many people living in urban areas started to starve. Russia began to suffer greatly due to the bad infrastructure, food shortages, and poor organization, all because of Tsar Nicholas II. By 1917, everyone wanted him to step down.
The February Revolution began with demonstrations and protests in Petrograd. Working-class women decided that it was time for their voices to be heard. An estimated 90,000 women marched through the streets shouting bread, down with the autocracy, and stop the war. They worked long hours in miserable conditions in order to feed their families due to the fact that their husbands and fathers were fighting in World War I.
The following day, more than 150,000 men and women took the streets to protest. By February 25th, the city of Petrograd was shut down. No one was working. Tsar Nicholas II was not in Petrograd during protests. He had heard reports of protests but decided not to take them seriously. On March 2nd, Tsar Nicholas was officially abdicated. Without the infamous monarchy, the question remained as to who would next lead the country.
The Second Revolution took place in October. Two important groups wanted to claim leadership over Russia: the Duma members, a group who represented the middle and upper classes, and the Petrograd Soviet, who believed they represented workers and soldiers. The Duma members had formed the provisional government, which supposedly ran the country.
The provisional government did quite a few things. They abolished death penalty, granted amnesty for all political prisoners and those in exile, ended religious and ethnic discrimination, and granted civil liberties. However, they did not deal with the end to the war, land reform, and bettering the quality of life for the Russian people.
On April 3rd, Lenin returns from exile and arrives in Petrograd. Lenin's first groundbreaking actions were to denounce the provisional government and call for a new revolution. People began to support Lenin. Soon, the July days began in Petrograd with protests against the provisional government. This happened after the Bolsheviks unsuccessfully tried to direct these protests into a coup. Finally, Lenin was forced into hiding by the Bolsheviks. On October 10th, a secret meeting of the Bolshevik party leaders was held.
Lenin used his charisma and power of persuasion to convince others that it was time for a revolution. Having debated through the night, a vote was taken the following morning. It was 10-2 in favor of a revolution. The October Revolution officially starts. The Bolsheviks successfully take control of all Petrograd, including the Winter Palace. The Romanovs were captured and executed. The Bolsheviks were now the leaders of Russia. The Second All-Russian Congress of Soviets approved the formation of a new government composed mainly of the Bolsheviks' commissars.
The Egyptian and Russian revolution seemed very different at first glance. Egypt was ruled by a former president Hosni Mubarak for 30 years. He was corrupt and the Egyptian people wanted change. They organized a protest over Facebook scheduled for January 25th of 2011. Hosni eventually stepped down and the Muslim Brotherhood appointed a new leader, Mohammed Morsi. He was wildly unpopular and was soon taken down as well. Finally, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi came to power. He is a military leader that offered fresh new ideas. He is very charismatic and generally well loved by the people.
When comparing the revolutions, it's easy to see the similarities. Both countries were ruled by corrupt leaders, Tsar Nicholas II and Hosni Mubarak. Secondly, all protests that took place in both Russia and Egypt were aimed towards the removals of their unreasonable rulers. Furthermore, the Russian provisional government resembled the Muslim Brotherhood in more ways than one. Both parties had the majority of seats in government and had a lot of power when swaying the masses. In conclusion, both revolutions aimed to make the lives of their people better. Whether or not they succeeded is the question that still remains.